everyone, so I thought today was time for another story time video, and this is about a night I had 3 days ago, and it is about me getting stranded in the middle of nowhere, which was so much fun, so I thought I'd have to share it with you guys. On Friday I went down to Weston-super-Mare to see my friend perform in a show called Priscilla Queen of the Desert. If you haven't heard of Priscilla Queen of the Desert, it is honestly like probably one of my favourite musicals. It is so much fun. It is set in Australia and it is about 3 drag queens, and there's incredible costumes, incredible songs, incredible dance routines, so definitely try and get to see it. So anyway, I drove down to Weston-super-Mare and I've never drove down there on my own before. It's probably like an hour and a half away. So not too far, but still quite a bit of a drive. And so I parked up in a car park in the centre of town. It's the biggest car park there. So I left my car there at about 6:30 and I went down to the beach because Weston-super-Mare has got a nice beach. Well, I say nice, it's an awful beach. Weston-super-Mare is also known as Weston-super-Mud because it has sinking mud rather than sea. And when I was younger and we used to go down there, my mum used to be like, get away from the sea, you'll die, it'll suck you in, you'll get drowned. I don't know, is it called drowning when you die from sinking mud? I don't know. But anyway, I've always been petrified of the beach in Weston-super-Mare. Anyway, I met my friend who I was seeing the show with, and she also parked in the same car park as me. And we had some food, and then we went over to the theatre and met a whole group of all my theatre group friends as we were all going together. So we watched the show, amazing, loved it. The show finished at about 10 o'clock. So me and my friend walked back to the car park, and that's when disaster struck. Because the car park had been locked. Now, I just started hilariously laughing. I thought it was the funniest thing that had ever happened to me. And then reality set in, and I realised I was trapped in the middle of nowhere in bloody Weston-super-Mud. So the first thing I did was call my mum, and I was like, Mum, I'm stuck, I don't know what to do, blah, blah, blah. And she just laughed. She just laughed, she thought it was hilarious, and she offered no help or no options of what I could do. And then my friend called her parents, and they just laughed. And then I messaged the other people that I was in the group with that came to see the show with me, who could have offered me a lift home. They could have like turned back around, you know, and drove back and squeezed me in their car, you know, but they just thought it was funny too and carried on driving home. So that's really good and nice of them. So I was like, what the hell am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to sleep on the bloody beach? Because that seems like the only option that's available to me right now. So anyway, there was a little tiny number to call for help, for car park help, next to a tiny sign that said the car park closes at 7 PM. Who closes a bloody car park at 7 PM? It's not even dark, it's summer. 7 PM, I parked at 6:45. My car got locked in the car park 15 minutes after I bloody well left it. What a joke. We phoned them up and a guy answered. He said, "Oh, I'm sorry, love, but I'm in Manchester. There's not really anything I can do to help, can I?" Manchester? Manchester? 4.5 hours away. Manchester? Okay, and then we just replied saying, what do you expect us to do? Do you expect us to sleep on the beach? And he goes, well, if you are going to sleep on the beach, I'd get like a blanket or a towel or something to lay on to not get sand on you. So anyway, we hung up on that. Next option, find a hotel for the night. We walked to the Premier Inn. It's like a cheap chain hotel. Well, we thought it was cheap. Anyway, we turned up. They said, there's no room at the inn. At this point, I felt like bloody Mary and Joseph trying to find a room in the stable. They said there was no room, but we could go to another Premier Inn that was a few miles away for the bargain price of £110. £110. It was 12 o'clock at night and we would be leaving the hotel room at 6 o'clock in the morning. £110 for 6 hours in a hotel room where I wouldn't even be able to sleep because I haven't got any bloody clothes with me. So anyway, I said absolutely nowhere, I'd rather just die on the beach. And so we walked to the train station to see if there was any trains home, which obviously there wasn't. But there was a train to Bristol Temple Meads, which is like halfway between Weston-super-Mare and my home. So we hopped on that, you know. By this point I was just delusional. I found a packet of Maltesers and I just didn't even know where they'd been, I just ate them, so I'm glad I'm still alive, to be honest with you. Anyway, we got to Bristol Temple Meads and we were like, well, what the hell do we do now? Because nobody's offering to help us still. You really know who your friends are in your time of need, and it turns out I don't have any. We then went to look for other trains that were running. Turns out there was absolutely no trains running anywhere at that time. So then we went to the bus station. The only bus that was running was to bloody Bristol Zoo. What are people doing at Bristol Zoo at 1 o'clock in the morning? Anyway, so then the next option, I was thinking, Christ, I'm gonna have to sleep in a bloody monkey cage on Gorilla Island. The only thing we could do was to fork out for a taxi. Now this is like a 45-minute drive, and taxis charged by the minute. Of course, the taxi driver was a weirdo. I mean, have you ever been in a taxi with a normal taxi driver? I don't think so. He went on a 45-minute chat about the time he broke down on the M5 motorway, and he just didn't even stop for air. I didn't speak to him for the whole 45 minutes because he was just basically performing a monologue to himself. So anyway, I got home at 2 o'clock in the morning and it took 3.5 hours to get home. Bearing in mind my car was still back in Weston-super-Mare having a nice little seaside holiday for the night without me. So I went to bed. I got up at 6 o'clock in the morning. Got on a bloody train back to Weston-super-Mare, got in my car and drove all the way home. What a waste of time when I could have been binging Netflix. The moral of the story is always read the signs. Always check what time the car park closes, because apparently some close in the middle of the day for no reason. Absolutely no reason. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this little story time video. It's not very dramatic. It's not like the time someone planted a bomb in my school or the time we had an earthquake, but I thought it was still a funny story that I could share with you guys. Anyway, I'm on summer holidays now for 4 months, so expect quite a few videos from me. But don't hold out much hope that they're going to be very good. Okay, anyway, it was nice talking to you guys. I'll see you very soon. Bye! Mwah!